hold on. Yes. My lawyer says it. They filed a notice asking the court to appeal the review of the judgment, blah, blah, blah. You will not have to appear in court then. Okay, thank you, man. Holy Jesus. Oh, man. Hey, enjoy the flight to fucking Austin, brother. It is what it is. Jesus Christ, man.
I appreciate everyone who watched this video and liked this video, but this right here is about to be my story and how I got these court docs and what they mean and what happened and how XQC really won. He really has to thank his lawyer for lawyering. And when I tell you his lawyer lawyered, it was like chess watching how everything took place. This is the case summary. This is going to be important for the narrative. So what you see right here, this a deposition, and shout out to Jack because he was like, you should call it a deposition for the video. I was like, sure, bet, I'll do it. This is really where XQC, after this, it was game over. After this deposition, it was game over. Because at this point, his lawyer realized she had nothing. So this was like, the case was sealed back in the day, but you know, sometimes where there's a will, there's a way. I was able to persevere and still get y'all the juice periodically. And now all court docs that I'm about to show you were legally obtained. And that's that. So no one has ever seen the full no evidence motion for summary judgment. This was the beginning of her end. Okay. They had no idea he was about to do this. They had no idea anything. They was like, whoa. He's about to try to file to get the case thrown out. Yes. And Adept is a big fan of me. When I was on her stream, she did shout me out.
Henry, thank you so much.
Thank you, Adept. I appreciate you. You've been instrumental in helping my channel grow. We wish you much health and success, and we want to see more of you crashing out so we can monetize that. All right, so here's the factual background. It's just more, hey, she filed for divorce. And here's the kicker, right? After she got the case sealed, she filed another petition for alternate causes of action. Alternate causes of action. This is where I assume she was trying to take money from him through saying, hey, they built the company together. Okay, they built the company. So what happened in this motion for no summary judgment? It may seem simple, but there's a lot of legalese to it. This document puts all pressure on Adept to show proof, like big proof, not little proof, not, oh, this and that. It's like, look, he filed this because he was legally entitled to it. Hey, XQC is like, lawyers like, look, if there is no evidence of one or more essential elements of the claim or defense on which an adverse party would have burden of proof at trial. You're like, look, she has nothing. She needs to prove it now before we go to trial, right? And if she can't, the court must grant the motion unless Adept produces summary judgment evidence raising a genuine issue of material fact. Now, this sounds like legalese, but I want you guys to get the complete picture and not just the snapshot of the video, okay? Because when XQC moves for summary judgment based on a lack of proof of fact, Adept may not discharge its burden by offering small evidence, okay? She got to offer big shit. She can't be like, well, my mom said, my housekeeper said. He like, no, that shit needs to be concrete. And if it's not concrete, right here, hey, when the evidence is so weak, then, you know, that just creates suspicion. No, you can't create suspicion. You need actual proof, documented proof, okay? Because if she has none, then it's like they were never married at all, okay? So this is him forcing Adept to show her hand or risk the entire case getting tossed out. You can't be putting it on Consuela. Like, oh, well, Consuela said, no. We gonna get to that later when he writes the $50 million response that pretty much just annihilates her. And I gave y'all bullet points, but I left some stuff out, okay? So, hey, She got to show undeniable evidence or the case gets tossed out. So after the motion for non-summary judgment may be filed, in adequate time for discovery. He can only do this after they were given an ample amount of time for discovery. Now remember, she filed this in November. So she can't be like, well, he filed this in May 2023. So from November to May, he filed this in, hey, we got the deposition, we did the pretrial hearing, you don't have no evidence to keep us married, to keep up the charade, okay? And he points out, hey, this has been pending since November, and the basis of her claim to an existence of an informal marriage, if any, has likewise been known to her since or before November 2022, when her original petition for divorce was filed. Accordingly, adequate time has passed for discovery and Adept's production of summary judgment evidence in support of her claim as to the existence of an informal marriage. Hey, she had all the time in the world, guys. She had all the time in the world. Let me see. All right, 358 is too much. There we go. Now, what is he saying? Guys, you remember, in Texas, to be married, you have to live together, agree to get married, and hold out as being married. He pointed out clearly, hey, she has no proof that there was an agreement to get married. And remember, I was like, hey guys, the Discord message, it might be something, but she has no proof that there was an agreement to get married. And she damn sure has no proof that they held out as husband and wife. Because she has no evidence, please drop the case. And I put Giga Chat lawyer. Now, some time passes through that, right? Some time passes through. She files, before we get to this, we got to go here, right? So he files that motion for summary judgment right here, 522, right there. Boom. Their trial that they had scheduled was canceled. All that good stuff was canceled because of this motion right here. And we can't go to trial with this pending motion on our hand. So this is another smart move on his lawyer's end. The hearing for the summary judgment was pushed back. Now, this is where it gets good. And hopefully you guys remember this. Her first response to the motion for summary judgment. You see this lock? That means they filed it it's sealed or I can't get it. So you go from that to this is the new evidence. And I'm not going to play the new evidence, but if you watch this video, you know where she basically tries to coerce the maid into saying, yeah, we remember.
Oh, see, and remember or recall or confident to say, you know, that would just really help.
I remember when you were in the house that before you all bought that house.
Yeah.
That I went to do the move out and I think I had one helper and
it really does not matter what that maid says because she's not an impartial witness. Okay, so now this is this is the response that puts the nail in the coffin. This is the 50 million. Hold on, where is it at? This is the $50 million response. Okay. Because when she wanted to enter new evidence, the judge said no. When she wanted to, which I presume was add a new witness, the judge said no. But she did file to use evidence that was already in play, which was the Discord logs, which we'll get to after this because that came after this, right? So here is the $50 million document that saved XQC from moving forward. It was beautifully written and all encompassing. So what does it say? We know about the whole 3 elements to get married. They have to exist and everything has to happen in Texas. Remember that Texas is key. I'm skipping all this stuff because it's all legalese. Okay. Now in the video, they talked about Dana v. Dana. Guys and gals, sometimes common law divorce works if you've been with someone for 20 years and they die and you want to collect all their stuff. Maybe that's fair. However, in many cases, even with that being as it is, it's still not fair. So let's talk about Dana v. Dana. This is a Supreme Court case. Remember, I told you at the beginning of this, if XQC is deemed married to Adept it would change Supreme Court law for forever because of how little evidence she had. So his lawyer was so smart and found these cases. These are, these reference cases to show that, hey, in this case, they had Dana v. Dana, all right? They were trying to do the whole marriage thing, but they didn't have enough evidence, okay? As holding out as a couple, as husband and wife, all right? The court stated that a couple's reputation in the community as being married is a significant factor in determining holding out the element. The proponent of the informal marriage provided 4 occasions. So on 4 occasions where she or her alleged husband introduced each other as husband and wife. Now, if you go to Adept's evidence, you would see she has 2 maids that can't say he called her wife, but they refer to her as wife, and he didn't correct them. He don't speak Spanish. They said esposa. I don't need to go back to that drama and play it. But 4 occasions, Dana v. Dana held out as husband and wife. But this still wasn't enough. The court concluded that the evidence did not show they consistently conducted themselves as husband and wife in the public eye. So this is a great thing for basically saying, hey, XQC never held out as husband and wife. 4 occasions, not enough. Cool. Let's go to this other one, Smith and Devine. Smith and Devine, they had Mary accepted a wedding ring. We began to introduce ourselves as husband and wife and testified when we both together out, we had been introduced by others as husband and wife. Neither May or I would tell anyone that we were not husband and wife. So they had rings, they're introducing themselves as husband and wife, and boom, in the end, the courts ruled that's still not enough evidence to be considered husband and wife in the great state of Texas. So when you saw her with that ring, you're gonna see it later. That was her like, shit. She would start looking up these laws and start getting smart and start trying to prove that she was married. But it was a day late and $1 short. Now, I didn't mention this one in the video because it's kind of like more of the same. All right, so Small and McMaster on occasion introduced themselves as husband and wife, but are not sufficient. So the evidence presented included the proponent presenting evidence exclusively from her own witness that she and opponent held out to some family and friends and acquaintances that they were married, while the opponent presented evidence through his witness that they never held out as to the parties as husband and wife. So this is literally XQC and Adept grandparents fighting it out, like back in the day, because none of you guys have likely been through a divorce, but when your ex is trying to do something, a good lawyer will go to a similar case and submit this as proof of why you should rule in their favor. And they say, hey, in Small versus McAllister, the wife kept saying she was married. The husband said they were not married. In the end, not married. Okay, because they had no reputation as being married, which means that you have to consistently hold out as husband and wife, as in every day, everyone knows you as married, not just for occasions, not just one person telling it, both people are saying it. Now, here we go. I love this stuff, guys. When I was reading this, I was like, it was like reading like a telenovela or something, right? So a properly filed no evidence motion shifts the burden to Adept to present evidence raising genuine issues of material fact. Emphasis on material fact. Material fact is things you could prove. Okay, supporting each element contested in the motion. Great. We know about, hey, the evidence has to be big, not small. Weak evidence is considered no evidence at all. You know, the burden of proof is on her to present every element of the claim. But this is where he just starts cooking, man. He just like,
let him cook.
Oh my goodness. So we're gonna read this word for word and not skip through, because this right here was like, oh, man, I wonder what was his like hourly rate, because whatever it was 100% worth it. Petitioner, which is Adept, has failed to provide sufficient evidence of existence of marriage. So he's basically calling her out right there. Everything to do with Adept is big. Y'all are horrible. Samantha Lopez, herein as referred to as Samantha, as a non-movement, has the burden of bringing forth that evidence. However, in a response to XQC, no evidence for motion of summary judgment, Samantha wholly fails to provide evidence that would support a finding of an existence of an informal marriage. Because she fails to meet the burden, summary judgment is appropriate. Her evidence that her and XQC had an agreement to be married is of her own expedixit, which if you watch the video, just means of her own word, just her story. That's like me going out and said, me and the Jive, we married. And the Jive like, hey man, hey, we are not married. I'm like, no, we are. I told the lawyers, I told everybody, and we need to get a divorce. That's what his lawyer is saying. So she argued that because she was able to get into Canada during COVID, the pandemic, to reunite with him, that means she and him are married. Like, what the fuck? Oh my goodness. When I saw this, I'm like, no, she did not. No, she did not say, because I was able to get into Canada, we're married. Could you imagine all the other boyfriend and girlfriends who may be from different states going during the pandemic, going over there and then maybe lying on some stuff, and then they say, hey, we're married? Oh, hell no.
Nope.
No. However, she provided no evidence to substantiate the notion that she had to be married to XQC in order to gain entry to Canada. She also professed not to know the specific date she got married to XQC. Now, if you remember in her original filing, she said we got married August 20th, 2020. The same day she got into Canada. Right then and there, boop, we're married. So Samantha's evidence that she and XQC held themselves out as husband and wife in the state of Texas is only her unsupported, unsubstantiated testimony. This testimony is devoid of corroboration from disinterested witnesses and lacks documentary proof. Emphasis on disinterested witnesses. Guys, when you're trying to prove something, you want people to have no vested interest in the outcome of whatever they're trying to prove. Her mother, her house, look, the mother, hey, if she gets deemed married to XQC, you think she's not about to break her mother off some money from the divorce settlement? So you really can't trust anything her mother says. Even if the mother said, oh, they held themselves off as husband and wife all the time. So not from her. It needs to be from someone like a waitress or, someone who has no ties to them whatsoever. So mother's testimony, family testimony, all that's done. Anyone who worked for her, which would include the maids, that's also done. It's just, they can testify, but how much weight is it going to hold, especially if a judge is deciding, is not going to be a lot. And remember, the judge already was shooting her down every chance she got. So the judge was not about to go in her favor. And we're gonna get to the judge also. So like I said, it has to be people who have nothing to gain, have not testified on her behalf. Samantha avers that she has provided sworn testimony that respondent held himself out as married to multiple third parties in Texas. Now, multiple third parties in Texas, she's basically saying, hey, he told people that they were married. You like, what? However, that sworn testimony comes almost entirely from Samantha herself. There is no one other out in Texas saying that, hey, he called me husband and wife. Now, what was really interesting, she could have easily brought in bigger streamers, subpoenaed their ass to say, remember when XQC called me wife? Because there are neighbors with MMP Lowell and Melinda, Melena, whatever her name, I don't know their names, Mizkiff. That was their friends group in Texas. So if she really wanted to do it, she could have been like, hey, I need you to testify that he called me wife in your presence. That would have been a crazy move if she would have did that. It would have been a Hail Mary, but she never did. Which means chances are she never held out as husband and wife. Okay? So, and her telling friends that they're married, like Casey Tron's disgusting ass, does not matter, because you can't be like, oh, well, I remember Adept told me y'all was married, so yeah, it must be true. You like, did XQC confirm? No, we don't talk about that shit. We don't talk about it. Okay. So the only testimony from any third party that is offered is testimony, which I blocked out, which was a housekeeper and her mother. Okay. And I put the facetious, like, Judge, I'm not lying. He referred to me as his wife, because the judge is like, come on, sweetie. And you have to commend the lawyer, because the lawyer never once brought up that she was doing this for money, which we all know, which everyone knows. So his lawyer was like, no, I'm not stupid. I'm a super lawyer for a reason. This is not about the money. This is about a fact of law. You know what I'm saying? He's that type of guy. Like, nah, who cares about the money? This is about proving someone right or wrong. And you have to remember, how much XQC's worth is the housekeeper, Adept, and her mother really about to be the key witnesses on a $100 million divorce? No.
Nope.
No. Okay. So he keeps going. The only purported documentary evidence that Sammy provides of either of the parties holding themselves out as husband and wife is a random receipt. Now, I didn't touch on this much in the video, but I want to know what that receipt was. Maybe you were staying at a resort or somewhere you put husband, wife relationship. It said Exhibit 10, but trust me, guys, there's no exhibits to this this document. I wish there were. However, there is nothing in that document that makes any reference to a marriage between either of the parties. Moreover, the date on the receipt is May 19th, 2020. So guys, all my detectives out there, all my XQC juicers, where in the hell was he and Adept at May 19th, 2020? And don't say it's a Dunkin' Donuts receipt. Like, what the fuck?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
What? Oh my goodness, my God. Oh man. Please don't say it was a Dunkin' Donuts receipt. Y'all are the worst. SeaWorld, come on, man. SeaWorld, they were at SeaWorld on May 19th, 2020. Can we be serious, guys? We're talking about a man's future was in the hands of a judge. You know what I'm saying? XQC was streaming that day? All right. Send the DMs. Wherever he was at May 19th, 2020, I want to know. Which is 3 months prior to the party's purported date of marriage. What did they buy? Where were they at? I didn't have time to like expound on that in the whatchamacallit. Now he just calls her a liar. Disingenuously's petitioner's response state that at the top of page 7 that petitioner has provided sworn testimony that she disclosed her status of marriage to thousands of viewers on her social media streams. Now, in the video, there is a clip where she talks about getting into Canada and how they were commonly law married or whatever. It's right here. In order for her to enter Canada, she had to be married to XQC.
Reuniting as through common law. That's the thing. That's what the Canadian government allows. We've been living together for 2 years, so at this point, we're considered
later. Okay, so that was her like, oh yeah, we are common law because I told thousands of fans. Now that video is right when she got out of the whatchamacallit, but I don't know if that per se counts as her telling thousands of fans that she's married. She said common law, okay? However, that's in a response to a question specifically asking from October 31st, 2022, which is about 14 days before she filed for the RP divorce, to the present, tell me who you have told for the first time that you and XQC were married other than your lawyers. In other words, since the time that you filed for divorce. That she said that, oh, I told thousands of people. Remember, she was going on these rants talking about I've been married. Remember, for the longest time, she would never say explicitly she was married. Then after this deposition, next thing you know, I've been married for 3 years. This is my wedding ring. You know, all that stuff happened. It was like, oh, she finally said it. But that was it. But by then, it was too late, chat. It was too late. The damage was already done. And chances are behind the scenes, they say, hey, do you want to drop this charade now? And she like, no, I'm not dropping it. I was like, well, we're about to file this. She like, oh shit. All right, hold my beer. We're not selling. Let me go live. I'm gonna crash it on live stream and say, boom, this is what's going on. May 18th, shout out to my man, Mod from the Discord. He streamed for 9 hours and 57 minutes. Ooh. This is interesting because it ended at 6 in the morning. So he streamed on the 18th. He ended the stream at 6 in the morning. And then they went somewhere where they were identified as husband and wife. Salute. Where did they go? It got to be documented somewhere. Got to be documented somewhere. All right, let's keep going. Samantha, this is not even in the video. So Samantha had previously stated under oath that prior to the filing for divorce, she opted to keep her purported marriage a secret. That was in her affidavit where she was like, oh, we don't tell anyone. Samantha claims that she did not tell more people that she and XQC were married because it wasn't safe to talk to their business associates about it. And most of their friends or acquaintances were also business associates. So you have two conflicting answers. Hey, did you tell anyone? I told thousands of fans. Hey, but in your original court filing, your original sworn affidavit, you said you kept it a secret. So information like this, it impeaches her testimony. He basically impeached her without impeaching her. Like you can get someone's whole testimony thrown out if you catch them in a lie. And basically, so did you tell thousands of people or did you keep it a secret? You see how it goes? So you have to imagine you're the judge reading this and you're about to make a decision that could potentially alter two people's lives, and you want to make sure you get it right. So it's XQC's job to present his case as clear as possible and show the inconsistencies where she says, hey, I told thousands of people on stream to, hey, I kept it a secret. So he has to use all her words against her. Hopefully you guys are picking this up. She stated that it was important that the people her and XQC dealt with on business matters not be told that they were married. You see, it's like, oh my God. And like after this, we can look at her sworn statement. I have it. But it basically is summarized in this, how she's presenting conflicting information. So that's when you see me like, so which one is it? You told thousands of viewers, or you only told close friends or family, or you kept it a secret from business partners? It can't be both ways. Now, this is where he just goes on the offense. Like, and this isn't the part of the video where he like, all right, let's finish this shit out. let's pack her out. Let's ring the bell on this shit. The evidence is overwhelming that there is not and has never been an informal marriage between XQC and Sammy. And at this point, XQC is confident as all hell. You see him going on stream saying, hey, I was never married. Anyone saying I'm married is completely stupid, brain dead, is going nowhere. Because he knew this document was submitted and we had no idea why the confidence was coming from. Even me, I was like, damn, he confident as shit. But now reading it, it all makes sense, okay? Adept cannot recall any paperwork other than possibly in regards to entering Canada in August 2020, from the period August 2020 to August 2022, where she represented that she and Felix were legally married. Okay. Now, when you start seeing Exhibit 4 page such and such, this is documents that they're like, hey, this is Exhibit 4, this is Exhibit 3. Now, if I would have had all these exhibits, only thing I'm really interested in is the deposition that I'm sure XQC has. And if you want to leak it to my email, we could run it, but I'll tell you about that towards the end. Just remind me. Samantha purports not to know whether or not she has ever filed taxes as married. This was in the video because this is major, right? Because if you're married, you can't file single. You have to file single or married filing separately. Okay. Samantha in her deposition claimed that even though she had been previously asked her filing status, she didn't bother to go back and check as to whether she filed as single or married in 2020 or 2021 because she did not think it would be relevant. Now that as a married or formerly married man, it's extremely relevant because you get taxed different. The government wants you to get married, so if you file filing jointly, you get a huge tax break. If you file married filing separate, you're not going to get that big of a tax break. And if you file single, you're going to get pulled over. You might as well grab your ankles because the government's about to go up in you with no Vaseline. Okay? So 2020, 2021, she filed her taxes single. Now you have to wonder, like, were you lying to the government? Were you lying to Uncle Sam? Do we need to report you to the IRS? But they wouldn't report her ass because she filed as single. She got jammed up pretty good on the taxes. This is because she says, look, when you see these right here, these quotations, this is pulled straight from the deposition, which is Exhibit 4. People, especially in the common law marriages, can file their tax returns as single as form, to my knowledge. Like, what the fuck?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Stay in school, guys. I don't care how smart you think your kids are, how good they're doing, how gifted they are. Stay in school. And I love that he just quoted her ass. People, especially the common law marriages, like, so now she's a common law marriage expert, can file their tax returns as single as form, to my knowledge. I'm like, I was like, what? What? This is not even a complete sentence. And you know it's what she said because he got the quotation marks. Okay. This would seem to be a tacit acknowledgement she has filed her taxes as single during this time. Single during this time, man. Look, he put together a lot of good pieces. Okay. Sammy acknowledged that she only told a very small number of people that they were married. Exhibit 2, which is, I believe, her sworn statement that we read where she like named Aiden Ross and all the other people. She initially testified that she could only identify 8 people whom she told she was married. So like, look how crazy this case is, right? You got her in a deposition saying she told thousands of people. You have her in her statement saying she told a very small number of people. When she took the stand, she said she could only name 8 people, she said. So now you have 3 different sworn statements with 3 contradicting stories. You told thousands of people. You told a very small number of people. You could only name 8 people. Now, when you're lying and you're trying to rob somebody, you got to remember the story. You got to remember. I'm sure when she was on that stand, she had no idea that she remembered telling 8 people. When she did her deposition, she had no idea that during when she was on the stand, she said she told 8 people. So you go from very little to 8 people to thousands of people. You see how the people list just keeps like growing, but it's like, hey, we asked you 3 different times the same question and we got 3 different answers. What the fuck is going on, Adept? I was like, yo, who did you tell? All right, anyway, these people consisted of 5 family members, 2 housekeepers, and 1 friend. And only 1 family member testified, and only 1 housekeeper testified. And we knew she was lubing up a third one to be like, can you tell the judge that you heard him call me wife? Her deposition is not public, it's sealed. I can expound on the questions at the end after we get through it. Samantha further acknowledged that she kept the existence of the purported marriage secret from the people other than those 8 people. In later deposition, she identified a few more individuals that she says she's told, but as noted above, has consistently concealed the alleged marriage was hidden from most people. So this thing is huge, man. Like, even though it looks like a small lie, but this small lie is very inconsistent. That just shows you how weak her case was. In her affidavit dated November 15th, 2022, Adept alleges that despite her claim that she and Felix were married in August 2020, they agreed not to disclose their status on their respective platforms in Exhibit 1. But remember, up here, if we scroll up, she was like, oh, I told thousands of people on my stream. I told them, Judge, You told thousands of people? Yeah. Well, are you sure? Yeah, I remember. I went live and everything, and I told thousands of people. Well, right here, you said y'all agreed not to tell people. You're like, oh, yeah, that's a misprint, y'all. Like, what the fuck?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Oh my goodness. So like, imagine me reading this, knowing everything. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible, horrible. Samantha acknowledged that she could not point to any example where she publicly referred to herself as XQC's common law spouse. Like, what the fuck? Oh my God. Like, do you guys see the level of inconsistency? I know I'm laughing a lot, but I'm sorry. It is just, it's just baffling to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like she's cooking her own self. In XQC, all you had to do was say, oh, I never said we were married. I never knew if she was saying we were married. It's just like, she's cooked herself already 3 different ways, 3 different times. In contrast, Samantha acknowledged publicly referring to XQC as her boyfriend. Guys, remember when I was like, look, guys, remember when I was like, yo, every time she said that he was their boyfriend, it's going to get used against her. And people were like, you're not a lawyer. You didn't go to law school. You don't know. I'm like, I don't have to be a lawyer to know that if someone is saying that they're married and they're out here saying that they're a girlfriend and boyfriend, hey, that's going to get used against you. And I put it in the video. I was like, hey, put a 1 in the chat if you were here for this stream. When I was like, wait, hold up. They have to hold out as husband and wife. You can't say boyfriend or whatever. At this point, I even was calling it. I'm like, Giga Chat lawyer guys is watching the goddamn streams. And y'all was like, no, he's not. I'm like, bruh, I'm doing the heavy lifting for his ass. I was doing it. He should have put me on retainer.
Her affidavit. But later in her deposition, she added new names to the list, but her marriage was mostly hidden from people. Also in her affidavit, she agreed June 2nd, 2023, where she said he was a good boyfriend.
Anytime she referred to herself as girlfriend or single during that period, that's evidence. That's evidence for Mr. Cow to say, hey, why is she saying she's single? Why is she saying she's my girlfriend? Why is she saying she's my roommate? Why I say my roommate? Like stuff like that, that's evidence.
A few moments later.
First piece of evidence where she's shooting herself in the foot. Now remember, all this is gonna be used in court. I already proved to y'all that the video that she said when she got back from Canada was gonna get used. This is gonna get used too. And what does she say? Bias. Bruh, I knew it back then in February. I'm like, yo, this shit's about to get you. This is about to come back to hurt her. Because the date of it was after they were married. And people were like, you don't know, you're not a lawyer. I'm like, man, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm also not a goddamn idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? I'm not an idiot. So I was like, yo, this is definitely going to get used against her. But now you see it come to fruition. And I'm pretty sure I pointed out like more than just that example, but I could not find, because I was covering so much XQC, I could not go back through all my live streams and be like, here's where it happened. Here's where it happened. Because I was busting this thing down. Something crazy. All right. Sure, lawyer. Okay. Anywho. So they start bringing up the boyfriend shit. And at the boyfriend, we just knew she was just crashing out. I wish we could have caught it, but you never know how the judge is gonna see it. But you know, so she said the best boyfriend ever in March 2022. Also, she said in writing, like, look, it's about to get wonkier. Samantha acknowledged in writing in March 22 that among the things she wanted was marriage one day. Holy shit. So remember, if you're married in August 2020, why in March 2022 are you saying you want to be married one day? You acknowledge that. She just shot herself in the foot.
Acknowledge me.
She just like, yeah, I said that. She acknowledged writing the XQC in May 2022 that she did not see herself as married until we are actually married. She said that shit. Like, I'm reading this like, how in the hell is she still putting up this charade? How in the hell do she still got all these followers wishing that, hey, she suck them dry of all this money when she could, one, she was so inconsistent on saying when she told people, who she told, 2, hey, I don't know the exact marriage date. 3, you have instances where you refer to him as girlfriend and boyfriend. You consider yourself not married in May 2022 because you were together. This marriage shit did not come about until he cut your ass off. And realistically, he really didn't even cut you off. He just wasn't acknowledging you anymore.
Acknowledge me.
She's like, well, he's not acknowledging me. He's still clapping my cheeks behind the scenes. She's like, all right, I'm about to pull the RP marriage ripcord and shit and get your attention for at least a year. You're like, God damn. So she didn't consider herself actually married. She wanted marriage one day. She acknowledged that Felix never wore a wedding ring. We never saw this ninja wearing no ring. We did see him wearing a bunch of watches, never a ring. That actually counts because it goes with the whole image of husband and wife. While Samantha now claims that the ring was purchased in May 2023, just 2 months ago. Like,
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Remember, if you remember the lore, she wanted to see him. He wanted to clap. She said, you cannot clap without a wedding ring. Why? Because she needed one for the goddamn case. So even Giga Chad lawyer was just lawyering her. So she got the ring 2 months ago. And it's ironic, right? Because they're going through this RP divorce. He's still smashing her out. But he bought the ring. He eventually confessed to buying the ring. So it is what it is. Okay. All right. Samantha acknowledges that she and XQC never celebrated a wedding anniversary. I brought this up too during the live streams. I brought it up. I said, hey, look around. Where were they every year for August 2020? I'm telling you, Giga Chat Lawyer was watching my streams. If we need confirmation, like once this shit all get over, maybe he'll give me an interview, Giga Chat Lawyer. I'll pay whatever rate he want. And I want to know, was he watching the streams? I'm sure he's gonna be like, Henry, I ain't watching none of your shit, boy. I don't even know who you are. But we was definitely on the same goddamn wavelength. Okay. Anywho, Felix has affirmatively denied ever agreeing to marry her. Like, bro, we know this. XQC has affirmatively denied ever telling anyone that he and Samantha were married. Bruh, I cannot believe she was. Hold on. Felix has testified that prior to this divorce case being filed, he's not aware of her ever indicating that she thought they were married. So she is going behind his back, telling her friends, her family, yeah, since I got into Canada, that means we're technically married. You're like, what? Yeah, we're married now. You're like, no way. And you're like, yeah, but don't bring it up to XQC. He gets real weird about it. So don't tell him I told you. You're like, oh man. But there are people who is believing this shit. They're eating it up. They're eating it up. Behind the scenes, she's telling people, hey, we're married. Well, 5 people. I truly think she only told her family members and probably Casey Trine. That's who I truly think. She told her mom, dad, sister, brother. I think she told her family, and that was it. Now, you've guys seen this. She has not offered through any evidence any specific incidents where he referred to her as wife. Samantha claims that XQC told her mother that she and XQC were married. Now, this is contradicted, however, by Samantha's mother's testimony. Now, I showed you this so long ago. I was like, there's no way that he is about to be deemed married off the strength of this, her mother and a housekeeper, when I love that he put the question. Just to be clear, I want to make sure I understand. Felix never told you that he and Samantha were married, correct? No, not directly. Like, at this point, I'm like, Mom, just fucking lie. Just lie, Mom. Just say yes. But if she say yes, then, oh, when did he tell you? What were you wearing that day? What'd you do that day? How did he tell you? Did he just come out and say, hey, by the way, me and Sam are married? It opens her up for more questions. So by her saying no, not directly, okay, cool. Thank you for your honesty and shit. Okay. So how does one communicate that they are married indirectly? So this whole not directly thing. Now here's the thing. When I was going to get the stenographer's report of everything that was said, she had filed the motion to seal it. And because this is a small town place, once she filed that motion, they start acting real weird to her. And it's like, well, it's a motion to seal. I'm like, well, technically, I got a little legalese. I'm like, well, technically, the case is not sealed yet. So my request is a valid request. But because it's like some small town, place where like all it takes is one person to ignore my ass and I'm out, that's pretty much what happened. That's 100% what happened. Because I wanted everything that was said. I would have got what XQC said, his lawyer said, the mom said, the housekeeper said. I would have got everything, kind of like what I did with Too Mad. But they were just being weird about it because she filed the motion to seal. And even after she filed the motion to seal, they would still like give me documents. And I'll just be like, y'all are goofy. But the other party witness Samantha offered was the housekeeper. And he told her, testified that Felix never told her that they were married and never personally hear XQC refer to him as his wife. So the maid was likely told by Adept that they were married. Oh my goodness. Now, remember I said, guys, if he's deemed married, this is going to set the tone back. I hate to like say I told you guys so, but like I really was like, I'm like, look, man, I'm not a lawyer, but I know a little bit of things. And if she pulls off this divorce, it's going to change case law forever. And people were like oblivious to it. And some people still don't think how significant it was. But this is crazy. Okay. Anywho, Samantha has not identified and counsel is not aware of any case in the state of Texas where the Court of Appeals upheld or found for the existence of an informal marriage when there was as little evidence to substantiate such a claim that Adept presents in her response. Conversely, there are multiple cases where similar or even more evidence was offered to substantiate a claim, and yet the Court of Appeals found that evidence was insufficient for there to be finding of a valid informal marriage. Other cases with more than one person testimony have also lost in the Court of Appeals. By way of example, as mentioned, he goes through the cases that he did, and like, we don't really need to go through this, guys, because this is just regurgitating the Smith and Devine, everything that they did, and they had way more proof that they were married or not married, and they still lost. They had more proof and they still lost. So let that sink in. Adept has offered no evidence as to whether her holding herself out as XQC's wife was common or rare. However, the evidence offered by Adept does indicate it, even if viewed in a light most favorable to her, that XQC rarely, if ever, held himself out as her husband. This is chef's kiss, baby. All right. Samantha has adduced no evidence that she and XQC had a reputation in the community for being married. To contrary, she affirmatively acknowledged that she kept the information from most people and shared it with only a handful of folks. My man put folks up in this joint. Folks. All right. Like, this is more legalese. And the part at the end is what's important. Similarly, regardless of the motivation that Samantha may have had and may attribute to Felix for keeping their alleged marriage a secret, the fact that such pains were taken to keep the information from all but a handful of folks clearly indicates that parties were not holding themselves out as married. Okay? They cite another case. Samantha presented evidence that she held out to some family and friends, acquaintances, and that she and Felix were married though that evidence is almost exclusive through her own testimony and not from a third-party witnesses. Like in this historic case, there is no evidence showing that Adept and XQC had a reputation in the broader community as a married couple. To the contrary, as noted above, she testified about the pains that were taken not to do that. So she went above and beyond out of her way to make sure you ninjas didn't think she was married. She's like, I went above and beyond. I'm not telling anyone. Like, she went above and beyond. Okay. Now, in conclusion, and I kind of just put this in the video but didn't expound on it. Samantha's claim that there was an informal marriage between herself and Felix is not viable. Adept's evidence is legally insufficient to support the finding of an informal marriage. There is no documentary evidence of any of an informal marriage. There is virtually no third-party testimony as to an informal marriage. There is only Adept's uncorroborated means no one else could back it up, claims that there was an agreement to be married and that she told a handful of people of the fact. Based on the evidence, Adept's claim fails as a matter of law, and because of that, summary judgment is proper. Giga Chad Adam Morris. How you probably like, Henry, why are you putting me out there like that? I'm like, look, man. So now what does she do? She comes back. She comes back. She strikes back, guys. She's like, okay. She took the Hail Mary. Now look, they had the hearing on the 26th. She responded with a jury demand because she knows she's losing. She knows she's losing. And then she put this response up right here where look, I have this, like, even though this shit's locked, you're about to see it. And her second notice of intent to use discovery products not on file, I have that too. But we're going to get to what she said because it is truly, well, let's just see it for yourself, guys. Let's just see it for yourself. Okay, so this is the 728 document. This is her response to XQC's reply for no evidence motion summary judgment. She's responding to the $50 million document. Now, remind you, her lawyer knows if her response is not so good, the case is over. She knows if the response is not just like, boom, here's the proof, the case is over. Now we're going to see her motion for a new case and her appeal shortly, but this is what she comes with, right? She's like, all right, look. Okay, on the 22nd, Giga Chad lawyer filed his motion for summary judgment. Okay. On the 19th, she filed her response. This response was shot down. I think she wanted to introduce new evidence. Like, oh, we got some new testimony. They was like, no, thank you. Okay. On July 26th, XQC filed the $50 million document. On the 26th, they also had a hearing on the no motion for summary judgment. The court took this issue under advisement and instructed petitioner that she would be allowed to file a response to the 26th $50 million document by the 28th. Okay, here we go. She's about to. You just got to look at it for yourself, guys. Okay. Background. We already know the background. We know that she's responding to the July 26th document. Okay. And you know the messages are about to come. And the messages are like the funniest shit I've ever seen. So, counsel for respondent also argued that there was no evidence that respondent ever agreed to be married during the hearing on July 26. However, evidence was attached to the petitioner response, Exhibit 9, to the response, showing Discord messages between the petitioner and respondent from August 25th, 2020, where respondent actively agreed to petitioner presenting herself as married. Further, respondent has provided screenshots from previous Discord messages that between the parties from July 31st, 2020, where the following exchange occurred. So I guess there is some Discord messages where they agreed to get married according to Adept. Exhibit 9, all right? Evidence was attached showing Discord messages between her and him from August 25th, 2020, where respondent actively agreed to petitioner presenting herself as married. Okay. presenting herself as married. Remember, guys, state of Texas holding out one time, that shit ain't enough. So I want to see that message if he does it. So she's like, well, we also have these further. XQC provided screenshots from previous discourse messages between the parties from July 31st, where the following exchange occurred. This shit's so cooked. Me too, he responds. Look at her. Common law partner. Related term, common law spouse. Ooh, she holding on to that spouse. And she likely looked up common law spouse. That's why you see a person who has been living with another person in a conjugal relationship for at least 1 year. The term refers to opposite sex and same-sex relationships. See the legal definition of common law partner. Wait, I am considered an immediate family member to you according to Canada.gov? So that means I could come to you? Now look, he just says yes. Yes. They call it conjoint. It's how most couples identify themselves as. Now here's the thing when it comes to conjoint. I've been speaking to people in Canada, and conjoint is their way for Canadians to say boyfriend and girlfriend. The way we say conjoint is without an E, it just means together. But the legal definition of conjoint implicates civil union. You see how it works? You see how it works a bit? Remember, conjoint in America without the E just means together. Conjoint in Canada and Quebec is how most people identify themselves as being with a girlfriend or boyfriend. However, legally, the legal definition of conjoint with an E in the French definition means together, like French definition of conjoint. Where are we at? Hopefully nothing crazy pop up. Conjoint in French. Masculine noun. Look, guys, I found it once. I think this might be it. Here we go, right here. I think it's it. Spouse, surviving spouse. Hey, Laura.
Yeah, boy.
City girls are down.
Salute to you with the donation. I appreciate it, Laura. Hope you doing good. Thank you for donating a membership. But it just means spouse or together. I can't find the exact page that I had it on, but that's the meaning of conjoint. Okay, so think about that. She's trying to exploit the situation, guys, and say, well, conjoint means spouse. I'm his spouse. What is she going to write? He gave her 13 pages. She comes back with 4. Therefore, number 8, therefore, despite the argument of XQC's counsel at the hearing and in the filings on July 26, respondent himself has provided evidence that he agreed that he was petitioner's common law partner and common law spouse when on July 31st, 2020, he stated yes. When petitioner said, I am an immediate family member according to Canada.gov, so that means I could come to you after providing the definition of common law spouse. Oh my goodness. Now, I legally got caught up with my ex because I said okay. So I can see how this this right here, they're going to take it as, hey, he said we were common law spouses. Now remember, you have to hold out more than one time. So even if the judge is like, okay, yeah, he agreed 2 times, but y'all never held out. So remember, she needs all 3 elements. You can't be like, oh, well, you got 1. They live together. We know that. We got him agreeing to get married in the favorable light, but he never held out as husband and wife. So best case scenario, Adept had 2 out of 3, but we really know she just had 1 out of 3, but best case scenario, 2 out of 3. All right, let's keep going. Okay. Summary judgment evidence. Okay. So to support the facts in this response, offers the following summary judgment evidence attached that they are married, which was the message that we just read, dated the July 2020. Also, a question of law is not proper subject of a no evidence motion for summary judgment. So now they're trying to add the law to it. Now, I get it. You want to throw everything at the wall to see what sticks. But at this point, when him filing the motion for no summary judgment, trying to get out of it on a technicality to try to go to a trial or something is probably not the right move. But at this point, you're desperate, guys. You're down bad. You are city girls are down bad. Where is that at?
City girls are down. City girls down. Wee woo. Down bad.
So because you're down bad, you're gonna throw this in there. It's like, bruh, he hitting you that you got no evidence. And the best thing you have is that, hey, it's not proper subject of a no evidence motion for summary judgment. Like, therefore, although respondent's reply argues that it's a matter of law, the non-evidence motion for summary judgment should be granted. It's inappropriate because petitioner's argument requires a legal conclusion, and purely legal issues can never be a subject of a no evidence motion for summary judgment. And they cite this court case. However, remember, just because you put it in here does not mean it's right. I've had people, my ex's lawyer put stuff in there against me, and my lawyer's like, this is completely wrong. It's going to get tossed out, but it still has to go through the motions because everyone is practicing law and their interpretation could be different from someone else's. And the only interpretation of the law that matters is the judge's. Okay? Now, look, this is how you know you desperate. This is how you know you cooked right here. Respondent did not give fair notice that he intended to proceed on a traditional summary judgment motion at the hearing on July 26th. Like, what? Yeah, it's called checkmate, bitch. That's what it's called. Like, no, I'm not about to give you my moves so you could prepare and you could counteract. Hey, here we go. The court gave your ass 48 hours to respond. Your response was you tried to use my message and then you tried to say it shouldn't be subject of law. And then you said you need more time. And oh man, although Rule 166 does not prohibit a hybrid motion, the motion must give fair notice to the non-movement of the basis on which the summary judgment is sought. Like, bro. What the hell? You are cooked. Her lawyer is cooked. Respondent motions was filed in notice of a no evidence motion for summary judgment. The standard decision for a no evidence motion for summary judgment is that it must be denied if a party brings forth more than a small amount of evidence. And it's just, let's keep reading it. Okay, let's keep reading it. In his reply, XQC attempts to improperly change the basis from a no evidence to a traditional summary judgment. In essence, he attempts to turn his no evidence motion into a hybrid motion. While that is allowed, you're shooting yourself in the foot right here. While it is allowed, now you're being honest. You're literally fighting for $50 million, and you're telling the judge what he's doing is allowed. This is when you omit that shit, dog. You just omit it. You just omit. Hey, the rules requires 21 days of notice for a hearing on a traditional summary judgment, and that the non-movement must be at least 14 days to respond. Therefore, there was insufficient notice for response to traditional motion for summary judgment. Now you have to keep in mind, this judge at this point has seen everything. The order of protection is in play at this moment, right? Because this was filed in July, right? Let me make sure. Yeah. So this is filed July 28th. Right now, they got the fake order of protection on XQC. So everything is everything. So this lawyer, remember, the lawyer's like, look, I know you filed the fake essay. I know the goal is trying to get $50 million out this guy. The judge already looked up who XQC is. The judge is aware. Judge is not an idiot to this. So petition has sufficient evidence to raise the fact of issue on the element that the parties held themselves out to others in Texas as husband and wife agreed to be married. Now look, her lawyer is just like, look, man, I'm phoning this shit in for you, Adept. We really have no case. We have no case. You got your fucking mom on the stand. She can't even say that he said that you were his wife. We put the fucking housekeeper on the stand. She can't do nothing for us. We got you. You fucking shot us in the foot during the deposition, during the hearing, during your first sworn testament. We got shit. So I'm just gonna phone this shit in and see what happened, Adept. All right, baby. I'm gonna give it my best. So he's doing what he can do. So look, for those reasons, we pray that you deny the motion for summary judgment. And the judge just was like, sorry, bro. Sorry, broski. We've seen this before. We've seen this before, guys. We've seen it before. The motion gets granted. Now look, it took hella long. Could you imagine you filed in July and you don't find out till December 4th that you beat the fake marriage? You like, fake marriage is done. Fake marriage is done. The court held that, hey, it's over. Hey, the $50 million document was sufficient. What happened? Hey, Mr. Moore should prepare both orders. And next thing you know, he filed this. This was also sealed. If you go back to the you don't have that on there, but this was also sealed. This is him throwing out the entire case, okay? This is the respondent's motion to dismiss for lack of subject matter jurisdiction. And right here, what you don't know, this one right here, this is where she filed for more stuff and asked for money. Probably. I'm speculating because I haven't seen it. So we're about to fast forward to the appeal and the motion and the new stuff. Okay, so she does this. He does it like, hey, look, we got to throw all this shit out. Okay. Petitioner's remaining claims are those requests for relief. So look, she's looking for money. Anytime you say relief in her first amended petition, first amended one, and for original one, the alternative causes of action, relief is money. She's looking for relief that do not relate to the dissolution of marriage suit. Those claims, it is undisputed, are for damages that exceed the jurisdictional limits of this court. So whatever she's asking for, they can't grant her because it's over their head. So maybe it's millions of freaking dollars. Who knows? Whatever it was, it's sealed. XQC should leak that shit. But they don't have it. So hey, praise that the court grant his motion to dismiss for lack of subject matter expertise. And boom, here we go right here. This was in the video, but it's granted on April 4th. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, it starts over. It starts over. It literally starts over. You like, no, it don't start over. I'm like, little bit, it starts over. Okay. She files to hire her new lawyers. And these are actually pictures, hold on, of her. Where's her super team at? Where is it at? I know I put them in here because I looked them up. So she does have a super lawyer per se, and he does have a team of other super lawyers, but it's really not going to help because she has no case. All right. She got no case. So just because skipping ahead, just because you hire new team, it's going to be the same results. Okay. So she hired a new super lawyer. They're on it. They're on it. They're milking her ass like you wouldn't believe it. They like, we on the case, Adept. We got you. We're going to get you the results your first lawyer couldn't do. Now, here's the grounds for her new trial. So this was also filed. So she fired her original attorney, and then she hired a new one. And I'm sure the guy who got fired, he is probably happy. He is probably relieved that he doesn't have to deal with this. He doesn't have to deal with her going live and fucking ruining the case or anything. So now she's saying, hey, we need grounds for a new trial. Now, I also have the people she's going to appeal to. Like, this is who she's hoping grants her a new case. Where they at? This is just public information. She's looking forward to these 4 women and 2 guys to give her a 4 out of 2 on an appeal. Now, mind you, all these 3 Supreme Court justices know the Honorable Juicer Brandy Hawford. So she's about to send this to them and say, look, look at this. You're not going to believe it, guys. The court abused its discretion or alternatively erred in granting XQC's no evidence motion for summary judgment regarding the existence of an informal marriage. Like, no, they didn't. It was well within rights. She's throwing 4 darts. The court abuses discretion or alternately erred when it granted respondents' objection to petitioner's response to respondents' no evidence for summary judgment. I think she wanted to add new evidence and it was like, no. You had so much time to add these testimonies. You don't got them. Get the hell out of here, Deb. We don't care about another maid saying that she don't recall XQC saying, whatchamacallit, when Brandy Hawford is a 72-month tier 3 sub. She might be, man. She's based out here. No free lunches. That's what she believes in. The court abused its discretion or alternatively erred and granted respondents' objection to Exhibit 4, petition's deposition, which was attached to petitioner's response to respondents' no evidence for summary motion. I can't get this. I can't get it. I have no idea what it was, but it could have been something completely erroneous to try to substantiate a marriage because that's the goal, but they objected to it. The objection was granted. The court abused its discretion when it dismissed the case, including the claims in her first amended petition for divorce and the original petition for alternative causes of action. Remember, she was promised compensation. And I did find like one of XQC's companies. I'm not going to like put it out there. And I was like, that's interesting. So I imagine she's trying to go for like some ownership in his company. I have no idea. No idea. I'm not going to put his company out there that I found like, oh, the hell? When I found out, I was like, oh shit. Okay. So I have no idea what claims she made in her first amended petition. But remember, she sealed the court documents and then filed this petition for alternative causes, which is likely for a piece of the business. So if she really truly wants a piece of his businesses, she's likely going to have to go through federal court. More than likely. And if she go through federal court, Birdman hand rub, baby. Birdman hand rub, because you know, I'll get all that shit. Yeah, like it's the GTRP, like the no pixel stuff. She'll have to go through kind of like that route, I believe. And then I'll get everything, okay? So they signed this shit. You know, these are the people who likely gonna read it. It's not gonna be Brandy like, oh yeah, you're right, Adept. I made a mistake. Okay, so now comes, what is this? Oh, this was when she wanted to add new evidence. This is what it looks like for you guys. Where you say, hey, I want to add new evidence. You're like, well, what's the evidence? You know, you're like, oh, well, see it down here. It's exhibit what? It's exhibit 1. Yeah, here's the messages. This means we're married, right? Yeah, don't you see that it means we're married? Like,
nope.
No. All right, so now let's get to her clerk's record and then we'll do the appeal. All right, so this is kind of like a nothing burger for the most part. So this is a formality. This is her attorneys. This is recently filed, as you see, 5/31/2024. So we still up in there, baby. We still up in there. And here it go right here. Samantha Lopez requests that in addition to the documents required be included in the clerk's record pursuant to this law, the following documents be included in the clerk's record. In addition, please advise the undersigned of the costs of preparation of the clerk of record, and payment will be promptly forwarded for such costs. So they're basically, this is them requesting court documents, which is wild because I would imagine she would have had a copy of all these, but they're going through it. So this is kind of a review for you guys. Remember, she filed the original one on the 14th. I could never get XQC's response, even when the case was not sealed. He filed it under seal out the gate. I have no idea what it was for. This is her first amended petition right here. The X indicates I can't get it. Okay, where she made new requests, which I suspect is pieces of his companies. What else? No evidence motion for summary judgment. We just read that. You saw that. Response to the motion for summary judgment that was thrown out, which was likely to add the maid. This is sealed. The objection is sealed. I don't have that. We looked at the document worth $50 million. We saw her text message Hail Mary. The order granting his objection, which was no new maid testimony, perhaps. The order granting the no evidence motion for summary judgment, easy clap. Respondent's motion to dismiss for lack of evidence subject matter expertise, easy clap 2.0. We saw that. The motion for the new trial. Now we're about to see the appeal. And that's pretty much it, guys. And here's the appeal, right? Like everyone's like, oh, she appealed it. I'm like, bro, when she filed that motion for a new trial, that was the appeal. Now, she may file something else, like something supplemental to be like, this is why we really need an appeal. They're like, bitch, you already put everything in there. You got nothing. You better come with a fucking recording or something. So this is more of a formality, guys. It's really just like, this is petitioner Samantha Lopez gives notice of her appeal from the order of dismissal signed April 4th, 2024 in this case number in the matter of marriage of Samantha Lopez and Felix Longale. In the county court, at law number 1 of Williamson County, Texas, to the Court of Appeals for the 3rd District. And these are your third. Welcome to the 3rd Court of Appeals of Austin, Texas. So you have these 6 people at some point gonna look at her case and they're gonna be like, I already got their response. They told me, I'm like, hey, can you give me your early thoughts? They looked at it and they was like, Henry, this is what we're gonna be like. I was like, well, can you elaborate? They was like, sure. It's like, it's game over. So now you got the full encompassing of everything that I had with this case. I really appreciate everybody. I think we might be revving up for season 2. We really might be. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with this case. I really do not think that any appeals will be granted. If anything, it's just a more extortion. But while her motion is in effect, right here, it's delayed right here. Okay. So where's that right here? Moves this court to set aside the order of April 4th, 2024. So no money will be going to XQC until this shit is ruled upon. What do you guys think? He's gonna win? Yeah, he's gonna win, man. It's written already. And I did have him talking about the case